Hey guys, I want to test all the level 3 damage bossing links and compare them. These will, however, depend on your class. I'll be using my Pathfinder for today's testing for most of it, since some of these do give crit rate, and the crit rate is for Vicious Shot. I have almost every level 3 link besides the Sickness one. It's not good anyways. Some of them are special requirements, like Hyper Logic. It scales off your own stats. So the stronger you are, the stronger the damage will be. I will first do a baseline test with Origin and see how much damage it does with each skill. Some build upon others, like Explorers, Mage, and Explorer Thieves. Or Thief League being reliant on enemies being debuff, but I'll explain later. I will say, the results did surprise me a little bit. I know there's a chart somewhere where someone did all the math, but I want to see it to believe it. So I did my own thorough testing and here's my results. I used two characters, my Pathfinder and my Shade. My Pathfinder I used for the majority of it, like I said earlier, since the Origin doesn't linger unless I attack, which I don't. My Shade I use because when I attack, it doesn't have a extra stacking debuff or anything. So just to secure the results. And I only use Origin as the control. I did each test with the link skills 3 times and took the average of each, in case of any skews. Although most of my testing were pretty much the same, plus or minus a few billion. So for Pathfinder, I had a base damage of 17 trill. And then I slowly swapped out links and did another test with Origin for the next link and the next link and so on. Some skills I had to swap over to Shade for the stacking debuffs. I didn't want to do it with Pathfinder because Pathfinder has a stacking debuff that gives crit damage and that would definitely skew it too much. For stacking ones like Arc and Ilium, I did the proper stacking and then I use Origin when it's fully stacked up. Same for Shade. This took a lot of time to do going back and forth and it was annoying, but I'll skip all the boring parts to show you the results. Some of these skills I didn't expect, but I went off like word of mouth. For example, someone told me that level 3 Xenon is really good, and I just kind of like went off that. And turns out it actually wasn't that good. On paper, it sounds good, but in actual testing, it wasn't. Here's the recommended links I have for archers. Of course, we want the crit rate ones like Focus Spirit, Phantom, and Venture. Terms of Condition, always have it. And all my characters I like having Light Watch because ID. There's a chart which I'll post on screen. There's kind of like diminishing returns, but it depends on what you're doing. Obviously for harder bosses, the more ID, the more damage you do. It's hard to get ID in general, so any like ID gains is pretty massive. For example, the damage between like 96 and 97 is huge. But then 97 to like 97.6 is like 3 FD, it's kind of big. That's a different video. Also, I like having the Explorer Mage and Explorer Thief together because they go hand in hand. And then unfair advantage, if you're above the boss's level, it's always very good. If you're under, just swap it out. And the last couple decent links are Demon Slayer link, Motion link, Pain link, Liam, and then Arc. Then here's a test I did with my Cadena with my usual links. I do have the adult link because I do normally full party boss. So I'm sure it's still more damage than my last link, but I'm soloing testing. And here's a test with my new optimized link, which is way more damage. For general links, I have AB, and then my usual 4 that I starred, followed by Demon Slayer, Motion, Kane, Ilium, Arc, Kinesis, and Demon Adventure, and Kana. And here's the overall list of all the FD gains. So the top 4 I always have in all my characters because they're just very good. ID and then OP damage. Number 5 I have it off the side because it depends if you're in a full party. I think if you have 3 or more, it's worth putting on. Just take off your lowest damage link. So for archers, you definitely want the crit rate ones, which I did put in green. And for the rest of it was my testing that I averaged out. I'll leave it on screen for a bit so you guys can screenshot it or something. Also, side note that Tree of Stars, the CL link, it gives crit damage and buff duration. I think that's only really good if you're like a Explorer Mage because Infinity. Other than that, it's not really that good of a link. Hopefully this was a informative video. I definitely learned a lot. Instead of just reading, I just did it myself and yeah, I gained so much damage. I gotta redo all my characters. But anyways, I'll see you in the next one.